Yes, my dear ones, welcome to the House of Tanya 23, where metaphysics, spiritual life coaching, and just artistic creativity happens whenever we appear. And so today, as you could see, the title of the conversation I'm going to have with you this good morning. Grand Risings. It's 5:41 a.m. on the East Coast. And I was supposed to talk about this yesterday, but I spent so much of my time just decluttering, I guess you would call. Decluttering my mind space so I can focus and think straight and make sure the electricity is snapping right going on. And doing a lot of chakra work, trying to stay in balance because of the planetary lineup. It takes a lot more work now than in previous times. Because what's happening now is involuntary. None of us is really signing up to the purge. And so earthlings are running to and fro upon the earth trying to figure out how the heck to survive, and some of us aren't sure if that's the best route. Or, to say it plainly, which world is actually better? Because we've actually been in this one since the day we were born. And so it's natural that mankind fantasize about any other reality that is talked about, supposedly available, other than this one. So from the day you're born and you kind of learn who you are and figure out you're a human being, from that day on, death repeatedly comes into mind, comes into your life, whether you invited it or not. You know, the sudden sting of just finding out anyone. It could be a celebrity death, it could be an icon of some sort, it could be a leader, it could be a child, it could be anything upon the face of the earth must come and go. Now, we're not going to deal with different aspects of afterwards. We're going to stay right here on Earth for a minute. So the title of this conversation is Death, Where is Thy Sting? Okay, so the more I contemplate it, because like many of you, well, like all of you who have a mind and pretty much a consciousness and awareness, it has visited your psyche most likely more times than you're willing to admit. And each time, what state of mental health does it leave you in? Now, apparently on Earth, there is let's see, how can I put this? Because as you know, this is right off the dome. There's no papers, there's no notes. This is coming straight from the heart chakra. So, do not be alarmed if I get heavy on you. It's only because it's time. But we seem to spend our days fighting or flighting it. Or the older you get and the more you experience this earthly life that they have created for you, I think it happens like about, well, I can only speak for myself, at that age mark of 50. Many of us don't even get to that point. But if you've been able to live on planet Earth for up to like 50 years or so, you begin to start thinking different about the subject. Because number one, in reality, every day you live, death is coming closer. Granted, the way it happens is pretty much the sting down here on Earth. It is the sting, the very notion, the very thought that one day you were you, and then the next day you found yourself in a place you know not. Down here we have a thing. A few things that we've created. And they're called like stages of faking it till you make it. It's like we tell ourselves whatever it is we need to tell ourselves so that we can kind of cope until it knocks on your door again and you have to think about it, and you turn on the news and there's all kinds of ways it's happening on Earth, right? You got the killings, you got the sickness, you have tragedy, accidents, and anything else that can take life. But even as I speak, my human nature is alarmed. Like, dang, oh, you talking about it. Oh, hope it don't come in your world. Oh, this, that, and the other. But you gotta understand, yourself. Because you are housed of many voices, right? And so, whenever your mind is focused on something moralistic or spiritual or whatever you call it, you tend to have this contrary thought, like right away. Oh, such and such and such and such. And then the contrary thought comes and says, it might happen that way, but you don't know. So it's just the point of the unknowing part, right? And then you think about the creator, the notion of, the philosophy of, the evidence of. We look at our sun, moon, stars, galaxies, and beyond, and planets, and all this stuff. And so we know man couldn't have done that. And so there's definitely something out there greater than the human being. So we study and we. Don't you know that the quest of the humankind, ever since it became aware of itself, is to cheat death? Now, the higher ups have pretty much sealed that realm, and there's nothing anyone can do. See, man has an ego, something called the ego, mankind, which includes females. We are so beside ourselves because we can't get around that. Let's see. Mad at God. You all know, deep down inside, you kind of tight because that this thing even exists. You know, in your mind's eye. You're hoping somehow or another somebody will figure out a way to get around it. So now we spend our very lives trying to cope, especially when someone very close and near and dear to us has gone through the portal. However, which way they've gone, it hurts like on different levels or whatever. But this is something that, you have me, the death doula, you have the psychotherapists out there, you have all of these philosophies and everybody with the education that think they know how to fuck to tell you how to think and what's the good way to think and what's not and this and that. And so, on Earth, we spend our fucking time thinking that there's some kind of thing that we can learn to help a motherfucker cope with the fact that one day our ass is out of here. Fire! And so all the shit that we become when we hear, oh, you could be the best of somebody. You could be the worst of somebody. You could be a motherfucking nobody. But you still got that date. And so we seem to spend our time on this road of achievement. We're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing this, we're doing that. But we're doing one good thing that I could see, and that's making memories with your loved ones, making memories, hoping that when our day comes, somebody would remember you. And so there's a lot of ways for that to happen, especially now. Look at Facebook. You have pages that can never be taken down. Life Legacy. Have you ever seen it? They send you a notification that asks you, in case of your untimely death, what you want to happen to your Facebook page? Bang! In your face again. It's unavoidable, right? So, laying here, I said, all we seem to be doing is buying our time. But to say all that and come to this conclusion, I'm a spiritualist, so I study about different spirits. And because I know that spirits are energy, right? That part Earth has let me know in a pretty timely manner. And I also am very grateful because I see some get to go their whole life on Earth and don't know shit about themselves. That I find interesting. Being that death exists, I find it very fucking interesting that people could spend their whole life down here and act like they don't know who the fuck they are yet. Well. That has always caught my attention in the people of Earth. Now, where was I? Because, see, I could go off on a tangent on that, but we going to stay on topic, right? And so, I began to look at those that waste their motherfucking time down here, see? And being that you was told no man knows the time, this is no man or woman, boy or child, animal or plant, insect or bird or whatever you are, nothing that exists in this realm on earth knows the time of its demise. Some of us get clues. You know, you had the sickness, you're in the hospital, you know, the doctor, this doesn't look good. We're giving you 20 days to live type thing that happens down here. But outside of that circumstance, nobody knows. Then we get hit with it happens to innocent children. It happens to the deaf, dumb, and blind. It happens to them that cannot take care of themselves and rely on others to do basic things like go to the bathroom, brush your teeth, wash your ass, etc., etc. It happens to the little ant you stepped out your door and just shut that down, just closed his eyes. The fly that you meant to kill, because compared to you, they don't got a purpose in life. It's interesting about that fly and the mosquito, but that's another show. It seemed like they were sent here to speed up the process, but anyway. Death, where's thy sting? And like I say, I'm only coming from my own heart chakra. Because being who I am, I decided to study the subject And like I said, I'm a spiritualist, so I began with let's look at the spirits that are associated with death. And what is the consciousness of others, right? That's how we learn down here. Because there's nothing that is pretty much, well, there's original, but there's nothing new under the sun. That is true. It was either in existence sometime in the past and you didn't know about it, so now you think you discovered some shit, but when you keep going deep, 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 you find out that we actually primitive. We're like, yeah, we're still like Clan of the Caveman to those that are more advanced. So, check yourself. Anyway, let's get back to the subject. So I'm going through the spirits, and the different names and But I came across this one particular one, and it resonated. The description of the energy of this spirit touched my heart in a way. It touched my heart with comfort, and I never really looked at this subject like that. It always had a negative, scary, connotation, right? And I'm moving past that. And so, it's actually kind of alarming because I'm moving into peace. It's something about a human being on earth that can come to a level of peace about a thing, such as death. I was supposed to hit the lightning bolt, but we'll wait. Because there's some heavy stuff right here. I gotta get it out. And so I began to read the description of this particular energy, aka spirit, and it actually brought me to tears. It was such a lovely thing. And for the first time, I thought about death in a positive way. Now, many of us go through the hell fire while we're here on earth. And so to them, death don't look so bad because this got to be hell. I've actually heard that a lot from earthlings. And I try not to agree or disagree, but just to, when I get by myself, ponder this shit. Because that's what I do. I'm a thinker. And I don't like to be bothered when I'm thinking. You feel me? Which is most of the motherfucking time. And it is what it is. I'm good with it. Hopefully the children of earth is good with it too. Because it's not for naught. Nobody wants to get in the way of anyone else's breakthrough now, do they? And some of us don't have a problem saying, look, I'm on the brink of a breakthrough. Get the fuck out my face. You feel me? When you've been down here on earth enough and you've observed the beings down here, you begin not to want to bite your goddamn tongue anymore. Because when you figure out that where is thy sting, you become a brave motherfucker down here. Lightning bolt. Shots fired. Shots fired. Shots fired. Period. We're going to talk about bravery another time. Because a lot of you that think you're brave is actually weak. That's coming from somebody that embraces weakness and bravery at the same time. So, I get to reading about this spirit, and I will announce her name. And it is a her. Okay? Yeah. There's men depictions and there's female depictions. But for some reason, I'm pretty sure this is not pretty sure, but it's a feminine energy, right? Because on Earth, like, this is how I came to that conclusion. Because I'm not no fucking feminist. Number one, my thinking is 50-50 split, masculine and feminine. I understand the plight of men and women on this earth. That's why I don't like to judge so quickly. But I do hold many trials. I gotta put it through the trial. You feel me? You gotta put it through the trial so that both sides get to speak. Right? Life gets to speak all your life, but death gets to speak one time. Or occur. You feel me? So, I'm reading the description. And don't get me wrong, some of it was like, ooh. But I said, I had to keep remembering to open my heart chakra. Because the mind and the gut was trying to influence my thinking. You must know thyself, and you can't know yourself by always ripping and running in somebody else's goddamn face. You have to spend time alone. Period. You're not getting out of it. So stop trying and use your time wisely. But anyways, let me read this little passage. Blessed sister. This is death in the feminine. And this is like a prayer or so that a human being is saying. Blessed sister, come give me your aid and your mercy, and cover me with your mantle of protection. Keep me safe from harm and hidden from my enemies, and free from the curses and evil intentions. For now and always, my blessed sister, I believe in and rely upon your power. Please come and cover me with your mantle of protection. Amen. Right? And so, that is one person's plea to the lady. And so, the description, let me read this, because see, I'm building up to something here. Holy death, number one. Remember, holy, remember the word holy now. Holy death. It is the female personification of death. This is a patron saint of those who live on the fringes of society, as well as those who face violence and death. She is hailed as a potent and powerful guardian and protector. Death is the great equalizer. Like I said, it puts everybody on the same level. So isn't that funny? Isn't that funny how we spend our time on earth talking about I am this and I am that and I am this and that and I am a god, I am a goddess, I am all these doggone things, right? I am a king, I am a queen, I am an archer, I am a scorpion, I am a fish, I am the ram, the goat, the this, the that. You are all of these things, right? But in that instance, everybody is somebody, and nobody at all at the same time. So holy is this process called holy. You notice they always call something holy when there's nothing that an earthling can do about it. It becomes holy. And so, it is the great equalizer. This particular energy potentially is the gatekeeper. Holy death. Straightforward methods of, they say, working with the energy. But it's actually like a coping type mechanism. Because again, nobody knows until they go. So pretty much to me, I figured out that everything that happens here is pretty much in preparation, right? But energy is energy, so just the notion of knowing that there's nothing a human being can ever do to escape this situation here, that alone makes it something that human beings need to pay particular attention to, aka holy, right? They got us worshiping a lot of things that they have given you on the earth under the title holy, you know. But the real description of what would actually make something holy is knowing there's nothing you can do with it. That's pretty much that situation. All you can do is go in your little mind, make up a coping mechanism, and add some belief to it so it actually works. And then you fake it till you make it. Then if you're allowed to get older, you might as well start visiting the thought process. And the older you get on earth, less of a fear you have. So let's talk about fear. Fear, my goodness. Well, it's a gift and a curse. Because some fears actually preserve life, and some fears actually stagnate life. Like I said, everything has a polarity. So we're talking about death. Some might say, what is the good part? What is the polar opposite of this thing here? Well, now we have to go into methods, right? And once you've studied yourself enough here, you know that through your mind's eye, you can go places, right? It's just like every time you go to sleep, they say sleep is the cousin of death. We actually get a trial run every day, right? Some of us take our consciousness into the sleep realm, and we dream all these weird ass whatever it is. We have prophecies. We have dreams that come true. You got dreams that play out in 3D. You have visions that occur not from dreams. You wide awake seeing something just pass through your mind. All types of things that earthlings experience. But the one thing I have yet to come across, and maybe it's out there, so I won't say it doesn't exist, but it seems like only the ancients can tell you anything about what you might expect when on the other side, right? Because we already know through sleep that and we know through science that this is not the only realm in existence anywhere, right? You look at your little galaxy and see when you're trying to cope with this thing through life, you pretty much you go back and forth off of Earth. You have to come back and you're back and forth, but you get to maul this thing out in your mind. There's a passage in the Bible which is very occultic, if you ask me. That's another show that I'm going to get to. And it tells you about different portions. It tells you that this one earthly man, they had sent here, and he got life and death in his hand. Okay. But you've also spent enough time here to know that he saved some and not others. And it doesn't even mean that you were so great on earth. So where does he get his list of who gonna make it and who not? See, when you've lived on earth long enough and you got at least a little bit of freedom left in your mind, you got to slide that shit to the side. Because if that's the case, and I'm spending my life worshiping a thing, and he let some unloving human get another chance at life before another that has dedicated their life to being good? You mean they didn't get along as long as they would like? See, you begin to, yeah, once you put that together, you don't have to revisit that no more. It just shows how much of a gift it is to have levels of thought, right? So that philosophy had to quickly go. And while I was in it, let me see, I experienced the transition of my grandmother, friends, ah, ah, ah. But one thing I must admit, I'm glad I was out of that thinking when my mom transitioned. Because, see, you got to be in a certain goddamn mental space, you know, when the close ones, you see, there is an order to things, you know. And as we could see in these times, it really is an overwhelming difference, and it really looks like the young is going just as quick as the old right now. There was a time where it was the seniors, you know. There was always other circumstances, but now things look a little bit different. And so when you look at the situation and you talk about holiness, you see, it's one thing if you've ever had a child. You know, when it's time for that child to come, there ain't nothing your ass can do. And it really is very close to a life and death situation. Many women lose their lives trying to bring forth life. And so that has been coined as a holy experience. So when you're thinking about the contrast of holiness, these things are what's holy upon the earth, is what I'm getting at. These things. And something's pushing me to say, these things only. Alright? These things only. So you got this creation of all things. And then you have the way you enter Earth. And then you have the way you exit Earth. So for an earthling, your main focus, right, I'm talking about focus on what you deem as holy down here. Birth, life, and death. That's your holy trinity as well. Just like you can't have a child without a father and a mother naturally, organically.